Hello everyone, and welcome back to Brick Country. Mason here. Today we're going to be taking a look at this really awesome Ninjago set that is Kai's Climber Mech, set 71812, and it retails for the price of $70 US. It comes with 623 pieces, and I am very excited to crack open this awesome Ninjago Lego set. Let's get started. Taking a look at the box, you can see we have this very nice art to go behind the Climber Mech itself with almost this foggy jungle background. And the Climber Mech is posed in a really dynamic position. You can see it has one of these grappling hooks hooked over a vine and is almost swinging through the forest. You also have this bad guy character, Jordana, on this almost glider coming up. And you get 4 awesome figures in this set, and I'm very excited to talk about them a little later on. But for now, let's take a look at the back of the box. The back of the box features another picture of the mech in other awesome poses and shows that the arms are capable of being folded down on the back. And you can see the ninja actually have a really cool element right up here. It is almost a hook-shaped weapon to help them swing through the trees. And I'm very excited to take a look at all these newer Ninjago molds. And I'm very excited to get started with the build process of the set. Let's go. Upon opening the box, you're greeted by 6 numbered bags, a medium-sized sticker sheet, and a Ninjago instruction booklet done in the typical style you see in Ninjago sets nowadays. Now, let's take a look at the minifigures. First up, we have Kai, the Fire Ninja. Now, this is his mech in the set, and I really like how this figure looks. It is a climbing version of the figure. You can see he has some ropes and carabiners on his torso and legs, and he also has a new mold for his armor elements. It almost looks like hockey pads on the side. I really like how that looks, and you can see it's dual molded, so on the back, there is some gold highlights as well to go along with the burgundy color scheme. He has a reverse of the face, being this mask element, but I prefer the look of just his face peeking through the mask. And here's a closer look at that hook element I was talking about earlier to help the ninja climb through the trees. And then obviously, he also is sporting the classic Ninjago katana. Overall, a very nice figure. Next up, we have Jay, the Lightning Ninja. Now, this is my favorite Ninjago character, and I really like how it's done. He has a very similar design to the Kai figure we just saw with a blue version of the armor. He also has a similar reverse face on the other side with the mask part of his face. And then he also features a lot of ropes and carabiner clips all over. He's also wearing a harness similar to Kai. And as someone who rock climbs a lot, I really like to see these details on these figures. Jay is also sporting a classic Ninjago golden katana and this newer hooked element, and is all around one of my favorite versions of Jay so far. Next up, we have Wildfire, a very fun character in the show. She has very nice printing on her torso, legs, and face. She does not have a reverse face though. She has some dark tan shoulder armor, as well as a new hair mold, if I'm not mistaken, which looks very good. There's some slight printing on her back with some fire-like pictures. I don't really know what they're supposed to represent. And then I really like the inclusion of these minifig shooter elements they gave her to represent her burning hands, because frequently in the show, she lights her hands on fire to fight her enemies, and I think it's really cool how LEGO represented that here. Lastly, we have Jordana, the bad guy of the set. She has a very nice print on her torso and legs, a newer hair mold if I'm not mistaken, and she's from Imperium in the show, which is one of the areas. And in Imperium, all the characters have these really unique markings on their face if they're from that people group. And you can see that's represented on the face very nicely with some futuristic tattoo markings almost. And then my favorite part about this figure is this newer sword element. I could see it being used in some very awesome medieval mocks as it is a very awesome dual molded sword. I really like this dark red you can see on it. It also has some very nice chips in the blade and a very ornate hilt, which I really like, especially that little almost teardrop shaped stone on the hilt. And I really like this figure. Now, this figure also comes with a side build for the set, which is this set of glider wings. She also has these elements on her back, which just connect like so, and then you can have Jordana gliding through the forest after the Ninja Climber mech to defeat them. Very nice. The build is super simple with some angled elements and some slopes and some silver teeth elements. And then I like the addition of these almost silver Egyptian sword elements to add some pointy edge to this glider. And I really like that we get this piece again in gray, and I think it turned out very well for a simple side build. On to the mech. The Kai mech is awesome and much larger than I originally anticipated. It's a very, very nice design, very sleek, and I like how narrow it is at the waist and on the arms. They all look very spindly, and I really like that sleek look on a mech. It's not typically what you see. Usually mechs are big and bulky, but this one looks very aerodynamic, and I really like the overall aesthetic of this build. Working our way from the bottom to the top, you can see the feet have a very interesting design with this 2 toes right here, and there's some very nice elements to get that effect. There's 2 clips so that's locked in place. And there's also this stickered element right here on a hinge to cover up the front of the foot. I think it does a really good job at that. Moving around to the back, there's some nice trans blue 1x2 plates on the end to give it a nice pop of color. And I like the use of shield tiles right here in black to give it a more angular look. And then going up from there, there's a very, very nice design for this portion of the leg. Several Technic elements and a Bionicle element used for the main leg structure. But then for support coming off here, we have a piston with a rod and Technic ball. So when I pick it up to show, you can see it just slides through and it's really tense, really firm and tight. So when I stand the mech up, it's not just supported by this one spindly leg, it has an extra leg of support on both sides, and I really, really like the look of that. Moving up from there to the knees and thigh areas of the mech, there's some very nice shaping done with these staggered elements. I don't know what they're technically called, but I really like the aesthetic of them. And there's also some stickered elements, some ingots to get a really rugged, almost samurai armor feel. And then at the knee itself, I really like the use throughout the build of these elements, these domed elements with a Technic pin through them for a joint. And then there's also some cylinders that can wiggle a little bit with some studs on the end. And I don't know what they're supposed to represent, maybe cannons, maybe different tanks of different fuels, but they look really good, really industrial. And the overall feel of the whole leg portions of this mech is really, really cool and really interesting compared to other Ninjago mechs we've had in the past. Taking a look at the back and mid area of the mech, it looks very, very good. Some Technic elements to shape it, and you can see there's just mainly this red Technic element right here, which is 3 studs by 3 studs, and that is basically the core for everything. It's all built around that. There's some very nice joints right here that are just Technic pinned directly in to make the legs very tense and very tight and strong. And then coming around to the front, there's some snot techniques used for this portion of the mech. And then just a little higher, there's some very nice Technic element usage. They're almost like doors used to cover up a little more of the other Technic elements and give it the red paneling that the rest of the mech has. Then connecting it to this upper section to give it that nice little L-shaped angle. You can see in between these 2 arms, there's a Technic rod, and this rod goes down, curves, and goes down again. So you connect the waist portion and leg portion and the upper body at 2 separate points on that one rod. And I really like the overall aesthetic of that. It gives it this nice bend to the mech and makes it look very, very powerful, and I really like the overall feel. Moving on to the main cockpit area, you can see there is a very nice head design going right up top, and that is on a ball joint, so it is posable slightly. And then there's a Technic element on the back that allows the whole thing to rotate backwards. Then if you take your Kai minifigure, obviously you have to remove his weapons first, but you can just fold him in there nicely and set him down on the inside. Then once you bring the head back up and kind of hang it over him, Kai is in the torso of the mech. You can see he is piloting this machine, and I really like that look, having him just right there. And there's some very nice stickered elements to add some more details on the mech, and the torso looks very good. Moving on to the shoulder pads, they have this burgundy color scheme with another stickered elements for this fire emblem on the side. And then there's some of these newer molded elements for the arm joints so they can't bend. The hand though is on a mixel joint so it can rotate. And then we have a 3-fingered hand, which I like the idea of, and the katanas. The katanas use these giant blades and then 2 normal minifigure blades, and I really like the design choice on that. It gives a really nice feel, and it's the same exact design on the other side for the other of the 2 main arms. But that's not the only arms it has. There are 2 more arms coming out the back using very similar Technic joints to make them very posable. They can bend in several directions, and then moving off from the joint from there, you can see on both sides they're a little bit different in their overall design. There's some Technic elements right here to make the bend very nice, but then the hand designs are different on each. On this side, you can see there's some Technic elements holding in the hook directly to the arm, and then a ball joint on this side to allow the hand to articulate. And it also has 3 fingers similar to the lower fists. And then closing that back up, taking a look at the other hand. This hand has some harpoons you can see on the side. Now, those obviously you cannot actually fire, but they look really good nonetheless. There is a very similar hand on this side, but it has a different type of connection, as you can see. And then you can see there's this large rope and this Technic element here, and that is because this hook can actually come off, so you should be able to hook it on something higher and cause the whole mech to swing from point to point, almost like a harpoon or a grappling hook, and you can shoot it to a higher point and have them swing through the trees. How cool is that? Fully hanging by the hook up here, you can see that I can actually hook it in between my fingers if I wanted to, and it just hangs perfectly from this hook. It is very strong, very sturdy, and you can see I have this thing in a very awesome pose. So I'd love to display it like this, but I think I'm gonna have it in a little more secure location on its 2 feet, but I really like as a play function that this is included. Well, there you go. This has been my review of the Kai Ninja Climber mech. I hope you guys enjoyed. I really like this mecha design and hope LEGO continues with these more interesting Ninjago mechs, and I'm very proud to have this one in the collection. If you guys enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe and comment below what your favorite LEGO Ninjago mech is. I'm really curious. If you want to see more awesome LEGO content right now though, you can check it out on the end screen now, and I'll see you guys later. Farewell.